We just got finished with the first event fashion show, and I happened to see you out there, and I want to tell you something. It was amazing. Your performance was fantastic, and just the energy that you put into the show drew the audience in. And I just want to know a little bit, Kenzie, about how did you get involved with this type of activity? Have you always been a performer, or is this something that just happened recently?
So I can, so growing up, I actually had a Rage Against the Machine cover band because my grandmother and my father were both obsessed. So I kind of got into music from a very young age, but I didn't start performing as an artist until about 4 years after I came out as transgender. And I started to realize that my poems weren't quite cutting it. So I decided that, the only thing left to do is to get up there and start performing. So that's how I got involved. I'm actually touring in March now, officially for the first time ever. And I'm going to only exclusively LGBTQ run bar venues. So it's very fascinating. But that's how I got into it, really. It's always been in my blood. My grandma always loved it. I remember constantly having to, block swears out so my grandma wouldn't hear them, even though my grandma was the one advocating for it in the first place.
I'm assuming then that your family has gone on this journey with you.
Oh yeah, so my family is, I always word it as, they're psychologists, so they were too, people don't always like when I word it like this, but they were too educated to be hateful or too educated to be ignorant, because anything they don't understand, they take the time, they decide, okay, now's the time to go learn from someone who's better than me. So they came through my journey from beginning, middle to end. Even my mother, who didn't quite understand it, was like, when I came out, she goes, well, can you just stop stealing my clothes? And then maybe we'll be fine. Because I used to steal all of my family's clothing. It's actually how they found out that I was trans from that. But no, they've been with me since the very beginning, helping me transition. And my parents helped me cover a lot of the costs, and I'm helping to cover and pay it back for them. But they helped cover a lot of the costs to get things going for me. Electrolysis isn't cheap and a lot of other things. So I have them to thank for 99.9% of what I've been able to do as a trans woman.
Just when you're talking about the cost of it, a lot of us know that health insurance and things such as that is a big obstacle for our community to affirm our authentic selves. And so for you to have family that is willing to go on this journey with you is huge. And I'm assuming that because of your family coming on this journey with you, there's a certain amount of confidence that also comes with that other trans people might not think that they have inside of themselves because their family couldn't make the journey with them.
Yeah, so I'm actually, that's actually kind of a big thing on my TikTok, was that I spend a lot of my time advocating for the community because of what I was raised on. So, I wasn't raised on the trauma that a lot of individuals are raised on. I wasn't raised hiding from my parents, being someone else whenever I went home. So for me to be able to have that life experience and to be able to fight and advocate for those who may have not been able to have that is all I could ever ask for, because, it's weird to say, but it makes me feel a little disconnected from the community, in the most effed up way someone could say it, disconnected from the community because my plight wasn't as intense as some people, others. And all I ever want to do is make sure I can help any individual for example, on my TikTok, the most important message I ever get, ever, on any DM, any message, any comment, anything, is always, you help me understand my trans kid. And to me, that is all I could ever ask for, is anybody who's under the age, who's forced to stay at home, to know that they're safe and comfortable with who they are. That's, I try and utilize, again, as weird as it is to say, or effed up as it is to say, I try to utilize my lack of trauma to try and reduce the trauma of those who are around me. And utilize it to help get people to understand, when someone asks a question that's ignorant and someone gets mad at them, they're not getting mad at them because of the question. They're getting mad at them because of the societal situation that they've been in forever that's triggered this situation. So with me, I'm able to take it calmly and be able to say, hey, listen, they're valid. What they're saying is valid, and here's why. And be able to explain it in a way that someone else may not be able to because of the emotional turmoil they may have felt.
Can you talk a little bit about your TikTok channel? I mean, this is how little I know about TikTok, folks. Is it a channel? Is it a station? It's a page?
Yeah.
Okay. I literally know very little about TikTok, but I do know enough to know that you can reach people in ways that in the past were not even possible. Social media has changed it for our community in ways that I will never comprehend, because when I was growing up, the only way you could learn about other trans people was to accidentally see them in public, or you would have to find a magazine and there would be a listing. Like for the instance, the Tiffany Club, which is the predecessor for the entire first event that we're at right now, I heard a story last week about how they actually got people to get involved with it. Was people would see a magazine advertisement. That advertisement would say, hey, are you trans? Do you want to meet other trans people? Call this number.
Really?
They would call this number, and then they would say, okay, what we need for you to do now is to go to this phone booth, and we will call you, and we will vet you.
Really?
And that's how it happened. My community, when I was coming into this community, my therapist was the one that created my community for me. So now you've got a TikTok page. I've got the show. I go to my classroom and I'm an authentic trans teacher to my students. So the world has changed significantly just in the last couple of years. And of course, there's been a lot of backlash because whenever people make progress in the world, there's other people that say, hold on, no, no.
What about me? What about me?
Yeah, I can't get you can't be my equal because you've never been my equal before, so you're going to have to figure out a way to put you down. And I moved from Tennessee to the state of Massachusetts for that very reason, to get away from the oppression that's down there. And I come to Massachusetts and I meet people like you. I meet Juliana, who is the director of this wonderful first event fashion show that we just had. And when you were out there, you could tell that there was empathy and there was passion. And I really want
safe. It just doesn't feel like your normal space.
Right. I want to know, how did you choose the song that you performed and why did you choose it?
Yeah, so, first I was asked to do something peppy and lively and something fun about the trans community because all my music is either about euphoria, dysphoria, trans youth, or something involving our plight, our existence, our history, anything like that. And I was like, we're at a point in time where things need to be stated plainly and blatantly and in the setting that is the most vulnerable and big. So for me, yeah, I could have come out here and done a happy, fun, lively song and cheered up the audience and brought everybody together. But instead, I reeled everybody in because to me, Paperman is, it's a narrative about politicians. And it's an understanding that all politicians is just a paper label. They don't actually truly usually stand for what they say. They have to, because if they don't, then they don't get their paycheck. So I thought it was important to be able to spread a message in a group of anyone between the ages of 10 and 70 years old, 80 years old that's here, to be able to sit there and know that they all feel that same way, but no one's exactly screaming it. And to me, it's important to always scream, hey, look at what's going on, even when things are good, because they don't always stay good, and the only way to keep them positive is to keep pointing out, what's pushing us back down.
Exactly. Such. Well, so Kenzie, I do appreciate you taking the time because I know that it's been a long day. It couldn't have been easy. What was there, 3 or 4 fashion changes that you made for the show?
Just a little bit, yeah.
And so I think my next thought is, people want to connect with us. How can they find you? And you said you're about to go on tour. Can you kind of let people know when your tour begins and where you're going to be at and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my tour is all of the month of March. And right now I'm touring from New Hampshire all the way down to DC. My main section is that I'm performing twice in DC, twice in Maryland, in Delaware, New Jersey, all between March 10th and March 16th. The most popular of it all is this wonderful, wonderful lesbian-owned bar called As You Are, right in the heart of DC, where I'm going to perform my entire album in DC, for obvious reasons, But I'm excited. It's the first time I've ever gotten to tour. It's the first time that I've ever had enough of a following that people are actually interested in touring. But really, I'm just so excited to meet other queer folk at these events and at these performances. Even just here, I just connected with a handful of queer artists that we're going to record music together and get things going. But that's how you can find me on my tour. You can also find me on TikTok as You Kenzie Me, like you can see me, but You Kenzie Me. It's all one word. Especially if you're looking to understand the community, or if you need to show your parents a TikTok and say, hey, listen, this is some facts that they're spitting. That's what people usually utilize my TikTok for. It's always people commenting saying, hey, I showed my TikTok to my parents because I couldn't explain things the way that you could and stuff. But fascinating.
I mean, I really and truly think that that's the key to it, is people are looking for ways to express how they feel through artists.
Always.
It's always been that way, and it always will be that way. So when you're doing your tour, It's in March, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Are you finishing up here in Massachusetts? Is that kind of like your plan is you'll be back in this area? Where do you perform at in Massachusetts for us locals?
So so I'm only performing in one place in Massachusetts, and it's called the Crystal Ballroom. It's run by a company. The event is run by a company called Lesbian Nightlife. And then I'm also performing in New Hampshire at a place called the Press Room, which both are very LGBTQ oriented. And lastly, I'm performing at the Stiletto Dance Club in Rhode Island. Those are definitely the three closest opportunities to be able to see me. And those you'll be able to find if you were on my TikTok. I have all of my ticket options and my concert venues available for people to be able to see. Most of the concerts are free with donation exception because I'm being paid by the venue. I don't need to also be paid by others. I'd rather people be able to see my work than have to break the bank, you know? It's important for me.
Wouldn't it be nice if a lot more artists did that so that we could go see them?
Well, the problem is when you sell a ticket for little, let's say I sold a ticket for $20 and I'm Justin Timberlake. Someone buys 50 of those tickets and sells them for $500 each.
Yep.
So it's hard. You can't really, you either have to do donations or accept that people are going to resell your tickets, and it's not fun. But
So you've Friday night first event has come to an end. Are you going to be here tomorrow, or is your first event adventure over?
So I'll be here tomorrow for a little bit. We plan on stopping by, especially the vendors, because I'm working for a nonprofit, and we're trying to build up a handful of vendors and getting.
What is that nonprofit?
So it's called Creative Haas. Basically, we help queer youth understand the fundamentals of music producing. So that's engineering, production, lyricism, singing, and everything in between, to the point where we help them craft their own music and actually put something out into the world. We also run a website called Best Laid Trans, where people can actually buy gift bags to support their trans siblings. Let's say if they're post-surgery, it's a gift bag that has all the stuff they could possibly need after surgery. So I'm going to be staying here tomorrow for a little bit, talking to vendors to try and build up some publicity and awareness for our nonprofit, because it's brand new.
Wow. Just wow. Just hearing all of that, Kenzie, my guess is that you're exhausted right now because it's been going all day long for you. So I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to everybody out there. And please go check out Kenzie's TikTok page. Go on tour. Go cheer her on.
Woo!
But thank you so much, Kenzie, and good luck with all of this. Go help the world like you are.
Thank you so much. It means the world to me.
Can I get a hug?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.